Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new video. I'm Dallin, host of Dallin's Creations, obviously. And today we're going to be talking about a device that I use on a daily basis. A device that I have had for 5 years, so since its release. And that device today is, of course, if you read the title, the 2020 M1 MacBook Air. This is just the base spec, because I couldn't afford anything nicer at the time. Still can't. And yeah, we'll talk about how my experience has been using the first gen Apple Silicon Mac and if I think it's still worth it to get on discount 5 years later. So let's hop over to the overhead camera, take a look at this device, and we'll talk more about it. Alrighty, here we are at the overhead view of this laptop. Again, it is just the base spec 2020 M1 MacBook Air. So it has 8 CPU cores, 7 GPU cores. So it's a stripped down version from the M1 you would get in the MacBook Pro at the time. However, for my use case, which is really just web browsing, playing Minecraft, and just on the go, some very light video editing, so just some quick edits and some quick Photoshop, this laptop handles it flawlessly. So, all right, now that we have the camera more in focus, we'll go over just general things that I like about this Mac. And again, you can see here that it's 8 gigs of unified memory, just the standard M1, running the latest macOS beta for 26. And yeah, this thing, honestly, even 5 years later, doesn't feel like a 5-year-old computer. It's held up surprisingly well. It's still extremely snappy. And overall, it's been a great purchase. It was $800 brand new, which for the amount of performance and everything was actually kind of a bargain. And now I believe you can find them for around 500 bucks on the used market, which is a fantastic price. It's still a very capable laptop, especially if you're like a college student or a high school student and you've worked, a part-time job, you saved up a little bit to get a new Mac or a new laptop in general. These are fantastic. Mine's a little bit dirty right now, but it doesn't really have any dings or scratches or any like serious cosmetic wear because I do take care of this thing. I just also use it daily. So yeah, a couple things to go over is I don't really care much about benchmarks for these. We saw benchmarks when they first came out, and I'll throw some up here on how this MacBook compares versus, the latest MacBook Air. And obviously the design's changed so people can tell it's an older model. But none of that really matters in terms of usability. Again, the MacBook Air line has never been it's never been performance focused. It's always been a thin and light, everyday carry laptop. And for that, this is still, in my opinion, the best version, period. And a couple of reasons for that is because they are so cheap now. It is using the 2019 chassis, which isn't as new. It doesn't have the notch on the upper part of the screen like the newer models have. But honestly, all of that's fine. The keyboard is very responsive. It's quiet but tactile. This follows the same principle as like the 2019 round of the MacBook Air and MacBook Pros, where Apple finally ditched the terrible butterfly keyboard and fixed it. So it's still a low profile keyboard, but they fixed the issues with the butterfly switches. And it's held up great. Again, I daily carry this anytime I go on trips, anytime I go on vacation, really anytime I leave the house for any long amount of time, I'll take this with. And that's just solely because it is powerful enough to do some basic editing if needed. I don't need to do it very often on the go. Usually I have a pretty set schedule on when I edit my videos and upload them. But still, it's a fantastic little piece of kit. There's no fans, it still runs cool, and while yes, it has one less GPU core than the MacBook Pro from this year, it still performs fantastic. Day to day, you can't really tell that it's missing that core. And it's even capable of some very light gaming. Now, Macs have never been great for gaming, but especially with Apple Silicon, until recently, they kind of lacked gaming features, and now they are starting to push it a little bit more. But honestly, I have a gaming computer with a 5080 in it. I don't need a gaming laptop. I don't need something that'll let me play super high-end games. If I wanted to play high-end games, I would use Steam Link from my computer to this laptop, honestly, or I would use GeForce Now. However, for a game as lightweight as, say, Minecraft, this laptop is perfect. It's fast to load up, it'll load into your world just fine. You can see this is kind of my basic survival world. Haven't played on it too much since, again, I don't play games on this laptop very much. And if anyone cares, performance on the latest version of Minecraft with no mods, no fabric, nothing, is 80 to like 85 FPS in the cave system. Once you get to the overworld or the nether, it's going to drop down a little bit. But I've never had this laptop drop down below 60 ever on Minecraft, so it's been great. And obviously there's like the fabric mod and everything if it's really that important for extra frames. But this is great. It's a fantastic little laptop, especially for Minecraft. Now, one thing that is still nice about this is it is still a semi-modern MacBook, which means its speakers are still better than the majority of Windows laptops, especially in the price you can get this for today. Are hard to do on YouTube because everyone's speaker setup is different, so your audio setup may not have enough range to detect, the full range of the laptop I'm demoing. But in terms of sound, it's crisp, it's clear, it gets loud, it's lacking in bass, but overall, it's still very usable. The screen is still extremely sharp, has really good black levels and color accuracy. That's something Apple has always done well with. And yeah, it's overall a still very usable and very powerful, thin and light. It's great. So now we're gonna go over to the conclusions, my final thoughts, and end the video. All right. So in conclusion, it's not the fastest laptop ever. Obviously, it wasn't even when it came out. But for a thin and light laptop that is still getting modern software support, though it'll probably be ending in the next few years, let's be real, it is still a fantastic machine. And you can't really fault Apple on this laptop. It got really high praises back when it released 5 years ago for very good reason. And it still gets my high praises today. I have never once felt the need to just upgrade to this to a newer one because this has been fast enough for everything I've needed. It's been able to edit 4K video. It's a little bit slower than my top of the line gaming rig, but I've spent a lot more money on that gaming rig than I did on this $800 laptop. 800 brand new, by the way, not used. So in conclusion, if you are a student or someone who just is in need of a thin and light laptop for a pretty good price that'll last you a couple more years, this laptop is still fantastic. Now, we'll see how the community handles unofficial software updates once official support ends. I know with Intel, obviously, this macOS 26 will be the final year Intel Macs get support. And that's unfortunate considering how expensive their 2019 Mac Pro was. We won't go into that, but it's ridiculous. Anyway, We'll have to see what the community comes up with for unofficial software support for Apple Silicon once those devices start losing support. But in general, in terms of transitioning from Intel to Apple Silicon, Apple did a fantastic job. That was acknowledged 5 years ago. So at this point, I'm just repeating history and repeating things that have been said for half a decade. But for half a decade old laptop, this still holds up really well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a little bit different than what I normally do. I do plan on doing a cosplay video in the coming weeks, as well as I did order a couple things that are pretty exciting, more on the PC gaming realm of things. So yeah, we'll have to take a look at those in a future video. But for now, this has been it. Just a look at the 2020 M1 MacBook. And yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. See you next time.